Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's small business seminar hosted by Mayor Andy Schor in the United States Conference of Mayors. My name is Jeff Bean. I'm the Managing Director of the Partner America program for the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and I oversee the program with American Management Services. American Management Services is the only consulting firm in the country to be endorsed by the United States Conference of Mayors and has been for the past 22 years. We are happy today to have Mayor Schor host this seminar, which I think you'll get a lot out of. And Mayor Schor, I think I'll just go right to you.
Well, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. Thanks to everyone for being here today. We're excited to see this presentation. I know I saw it previously, and we really wanted to share it with many of our small businesses here in Lansing. Before we get to that, I'm excited for all that we've been able to do for our small businesses. This is a really, really tough time with this pandemic. I know people are hurting. We're very sensitive to that. And the city has been able to collaborate with many of our departments, with our Lansing Economic Development Corporation, with LEAP and others, to make emergency funding programs available to our City of Lansing small businesses. We've put over $2.5 million in the hands of the City of Lansing small business owners since the pandemic started in March. And we know that has been an important tool to get people through this time. I know not everyone was able to get as much as they need, and we're going to continue to provide more dollars moving forward. We're looking forward to announcing some new programs in January that will again assist with our small businesses. So I did want to let folks know that. I also want folks to know that there's another grant opportunity coming up through the MEDC called the Pure Michigan Small Business Relief Initiative, which will utilize federal CARES Act funding to provide $10 million in grants throughout the state. $600,000 of this is allocated for the Lansing region, so it's Clinton, Eaton, and Ingham counties. And applications are going to be available at 9 a.m. tomorrow, December 15th, and will be reviewed on a first come, first served basis. So make sure you apply for that. We want as many businesses as we can. Hannah Bryant, who's on this call from LEAP, has a small business list. So if you're not on that list, please contact LEAP. You can also visit the MEDC at michiganbusiness.org, and they have information on that grant. Now about today's webinar, I'm excited because when I saw this presentation, the American Management Services and Partner America, they really specified that yes, it's very important to have short-term solutions, but it's also important to have long-term solutions and long-term planning and business planning. So Lou Mosca is here from American Management Services, and again, they are a really good resource that will help all of our small businesses in Lansing to plan and to make sure that they have the ability to recover and continue to operate, which is tremendously important, especially now. He's also going to announce some free services for you all. So here in Lansing, we're excited about that. If you haven't heard of them, they're a 34+ year business. They've helped thousands of business owners improve sales and operations, maximize profits, grow their businesses. That's why they're partnered with the U.S. Conference of Mayors, which I am very involved with. So we are here in Lansing, one of the leaders in the country being involved with the U.S. Conference of Mayors. So I'm excited. I want to thank Jeff Bean and Hannah Bryant, who's on our staff here at LEAP, for putting this together. After Lou's presentation, we're going to open the floor to attendees to ask questions. So I hope everyone takes advantage of this time. I know your time is limited, and this will be time well spent. So welcome, Lou. Thanks, and take it away.
Thank you, Mayor Schor. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this webinar, which we've sort of titled our Profit Maximization Bootcamp. We're in the middle of December. I don't know how many owners are on this webinar. I can see a count. I don't know how many are owners, but I'm going to be talking to you as if you're an owner, or you plan to be an owner of a business, or you're involved in making key decisions in a business. So I want to start off by saying to you that I appreciate Hannah's work, Jeff Bean's work, and of course, Mayor Schor for inviting us. But I also want to tell you that as a business owner, that I believe wholeheartedly that no one knows your business as well as you do. There is no wisdom to learning a business better than being the boots on the ground and getting your hands dirty. So you are the ones that drive the ship. You make the decisions. You understand your products and services like no one else. And in my world, though, I see a common theme all the time with business owners. And unfortunately, that is that owners set goals for their business, whether that is growing sales, growing employee count, driving opportunities, improving operations, recruiting new people. I find all the time that owners set goals for themselves. Now, here's one of my favorite phrases, okay? Cover your belly button. I'm going to challenge you a little bit. Unfortunately, the majority of owners that we work with never seem to realize their goals. I'm going to tell you why, and I hate to say it because you might take this personally. I have a technical problem. Here's the reason. Year after year, the majority of owners are running their business on autopilot. They base their decisions on personal experience, what their mom or dad taught them, or just plain old, here, spell this out, ready? Hopium, hopium. They hope they're going to get that next order. They hope things are going to get better. Too many owners are running on autopilot. So I find that these owners waste enormous amounts of time, stress, and money on their business because they aren't operating on a clear and well-defined plan that has one singular focus. And I don't want this to sound cruel or mean, but your business should have one singular focus, and that is to maximize profits. So yes, of course, I want you to be a good employer, a good steward, good in your community, philanthropic, care about the issues you care about, but none of that works properly if you don't do one thing first, and that is to maximize profit. Now, we certainly know owners have had a lot of unique challenges thrown at them in 2020, to say the least. And it's certainly uncertain, it's totally uncertain that we don't know when life will go back to normal, whatever normal might be, folks. But let's be real. I've been doing this for almost 23 years at American Management, and owners have had numerous curveballs thrown at them over the years. The pandemic is the latest, and certainly the greatest difficulty. In this talk, I'm going to discuss some effective strategies business owners can implement to survive the closing months of the pandemic. God willing, it's the closing months. How to protect their business against what I call the PPP tax apocalypse that seems to be coming. And then I'm going to show you a framework of strategies you can use to develop your own plan, which will help you grow sales. And most importantly, don't forget, maximize profit. So without a doubt, the coronavirus has fundamentally changed the world we live in. There's no doubt about it. Don't know if it'll ever go back to what it was pre-COVID-19. We understand by talking to the mayor and Hannah that the state of Michigan is on another lockdown, shutdown, whatever the wording is, which will undoubtedly impact businesses and individuals. This is certainly a trying time for everybody. Way back in March or April, at the start of the pandemic, before any government shutdown, before any federal stimulus money, we started working rapidly with our clients to help develop their COVID-19 survival plan. And we focused on two key areas of their business. The first was protecting your people. The second was to protect the integrity of your business. And actually, there was a third component, and that was to protect the liquidity of your business, which we're not going to discuss today because I can spend hours just working on liquidity. So we're going to focus on protecting your people and protecting the integrity of your business. And I would imagine, if you're an owner of an independent business, I don't like referring to business owners as small business. Your world is huge. So if you're the owner of an independent business, I would imagine you've already considered or taking steps to safeguard your business and your employees. I would imagine you've done that. First and foremost, I want you to think about this. Through this crisis and any future crises, it's important that you as an owner, maintain your sanity. That means being real with the situation. Don't try to hide from it. Don't try to sugarcoat it. People know what's going on. Be real with what's going on in your world, professionally and individually. And then implement a practical and achievable plan so that you can adapt and overcome the challenges that you're facing. Your employees are looking at you. Your bankers are looking at you. Your vendors are looking at you. Your customers are looking at you. You are the tip of the spear. You have to act like it. You must be a functional leader by practice, not just on paper. I remember my parents used to say to me, do as I do, not as I say, right? Well, right now, you need to lead. Actually, my parents used to say, do as I say, not as I do, but I got that backwards. You as a leader, people are going to watch you. You need to be the first in, the last out. You need to make the sacrifices. So to protect your staff, look into a couple of areas, please. Number one, manpower planning. Your employees want to know they have consistency of time, hours, schedule, responsibility, and input. Manpower planning. Second area is communication planning. How are you communicating where you're really at as a business? Are you talking to your key people? Are you talking to your vendors? Are you talking to your customers? So it's time to step back and evaluate how you're doing this. So personally, I work very hard to try to have weekly meetings with all of my managers, and at least twice a month have a company Zoom video where I talk to everybody so that everyone in the organization knows the direction we're going, and hopefully, we're all beating the drum in the same path. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. So weekly conversations with direct reports and managers, once, twice, 3 times a month, video Zoom with everybody so we're all on the same page. And be honest, they know what's going on. Your employees are not foolish. You need to develop a plan for hunting for new business opportunities with your current customers and prospective ones. So I know there's a pandemic out there. You need to be more aggressive, not less aggressive. So if you did X, Y, and Z to get business before, now you need to do A, B, C, D through X, Y, and Z to get business. You need to be assertive. So I'll give you an example. If you're a restaurant owner and you cannot host indoor dining, and clearly it's too cold for outdoor dining like it is in Lansing today, right? I think I saw this morning 29 degrees or some beautiful temperature like that. Now is your time to capitalize on every other option you can think of. Delivery services, pickup services, selling gift cards, because you want to sell gift cards because it brings in cash. And there's a percentage of people that will never even redeem them. Sell gift cards. Sell meal kits that your patrons could cook at home with maybe you on a video teaching them. Cooking classes, virtual wine tastings, virtual baking parties, birthday parties, anniversary parties, anything you can host virtually, you need to figure that out. And don't say to yourself, that's not what we're built for. You don't have a choice anymore. And even better, if you build it up, when things do resume when things do go back to being able to have 50, 60, 70% occupancy safely, don't let up on the virtual work. Keep that as part of your bag of tricks. Do everything in your power to let your customers and your clients know that you still have a pulse, that you're still working there to serve them, and build a meaningful relationship with all of them, your customers, your clients, your vendors. I'm the least savvy digital marketing guy you're ever going to meet. But between YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, you can have effective tools to help you survive right now and stay in touch with your friends, your family, your vendors, your customers, your bankers. And that's without even spending money on YouTube advertising or Facebook advertising or Google advertising. You don't even need to spend money to stay in touch. More than ever in 2020, December 2020, you need to be the face of your brand. It's got to be an emotional tug that people should want to do business with you, and your employees should want to stick with you and work with you and get through this crisis. Make your outreach personal. Pick up the phone, send a note, contact them on social media. Include your staff in all of your outreach efforts. Make them feel part of the fight, part of the battle to win. Look at how you're managing your staff. You really want to build and implement objective reporting metrics to get improved efficiency and productivity from your people in operations, especially since most folks are working from home now. So we have about 100 employees. Today we have 3 people in the building. Is that correct?
Yeah.
3 people in the building. Okay. And I'm trying to make it not be more than 3 people ever. That's what I'm doing. So all of our folks are remote. Everybody's working from home, but you got to have measurements to say that our productivity will not go backwards. What have you done to accomplish that? You need to hold your people to a higher standard of performance. I watched the president of Pfizer on Squawk Box the other morning talk about when they decided that they were going to create a vaccine for COVID-19. Pfizer put up the first $1 billion that they were willing to invest before they got a nickel from the federal government. And he would meet with his key reports twice a week, and he would tell them the same thing twice a week, every week, twice a week, every week. Not good enough, work harder, work faster, we have to help people. Not good enough, work harder, work faster, we have to help people. Well, this is survival, right? This is your business. So when you hold your key people accountable, you need to hold yourself accountable. How are you leading? How are you rolling up your sleeves and getting involved with everybody? Because it's a matter of winning or losing. There's no middle ground here, folks. All right. Mayor heard me present to the Conference of Mayors a while back that one of independent business owners' favorite topic was the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP. And of course, you all know that program has been closed down, I believe, since the middle of August. And there might be another round coming. Who knows? If you guys can figure out Washington, you let me know. All right, but let's take a brief moment to talk about the Paycheck Protection Program. Over 5 million independent businesses across the country applied for and took advantage of PPP funding. Not sure how many folks in Lansing took advantage of the program, but over 5 million independent businesses took advantage of the program for some $520+ billion. Forget politics, but to me, it was one of the quickest responses that I've ever seen the federal government move to that really helped folks quickly. Great job. As you know, this program was designed to help you keep your people employed for 8 continuous weeks. The thought was that the 8 weeks would be enough time to bridge the pandemic and allow business owners to start getting back to some degree of normal. At some point during that 8-week program, the federal government realized 8 weeks wasn't sufficient. So they expanded the program to a 24-week measurement, but still with the same 8-week dollar amount. What it basically did was gave you more flexibility and more time to apply for a full credit to use the money based on how they told you it was set out to be. So if you got a $100,000 PPP loan, for example, and you used it correctly, you maintain your headcount, you maintained a level of compensation, you used it for rent or utilities, and your bank accepted your grant application, you could potentially get 100% forgiveness on that $100,000. Sounds fantastic. Sounds fantastic. I've seen folks really struggle with the application to turn it into a grant because there are a lot of nuances, and it wasn't just like, here's the money, apply and it will be forgiven. That's still all the easy part. If you own $1 million business, here's an example for you. If you own $1 million business and you have a profit of 10%, that's $100,000. If you received $100,000 in PPP funds and it was turned into a grant, the way the Internal Revenue Services recognizes this right now is that that grant disallows your deductions. Okay, so yeah, I did $1 million, you made $100,000, but in that was $100,000 in payroll that you paid by using that grant money. Now that $100,000 payroll is disallowed. So instead of your profit or your taxable income being 100 grand, it is 100 plus 100 disallowed, 200,000. So whatever your tax rate is, now you're going to be taxed on a higher amount. That's bad enough. Let me give you an even worse example. Let's say you did $1 million in 2019. And in 2020, because of the pandemic, you did 500,000, which has happened to a lot of people, doing about half the business. And let's say because your revenue was off 50% and you wanted to protect your employees, you kept everybody, and on your 500,000, you lost 50 grand. But in that, you received $100,000 in PPP funding, and it was forgiven when you applied for your grant. Follow the math. 500,000 lost 50, no taxable income, right? Now you got 500,000, lost 50, $100,000 forgiven, disallows the expenses. Your $50,000 loss is now a $50,000 profit. So now you've got taxable income of $50,000 on a business that made no money. Scary. This is what we're all up against. I don't believe for a minute that the federal government's intention was to create a vehicle to provide a grant, turn it into free money, and then to have you taxed on it. I don't believe that. But that is the Internal Revenue Service's position as we speak today. I've spoken with numerous CPA firms and numerous bankers. My understanding is correct. So if anyone on this presentation has received a PPP loan, whether you've applied for forgiveness or not, you should be talking to your banker and you should be talking to your CPA about the implications and what's the last date that you can apply for forgiveness. Now remember another thing, if you apply for forgiveness and 80% is forgiven, right now that 80% becomes a taxable situation for you, and the other 20% becomes debt service that you have to pay back over 60 months. So you might have to pay tax on something that you never expected, and now you've got debt service for 60 months that you never counted on with a business that probably might not be able to afford it. Hopefully Congress and the Internal Revenue Service will get their acts together pretty soon and not penalize hardworking, independent business owners that needed and still need the assistance. So what could we or should we do? Let's flip PPP. Instead of calling it the Paycheck Protection Program, let's move it to the 3 Ps that actually matter so you never are in a problem situation again. Ready? The first P, planning. This means establishing a clear, well-defined plan for your organization that you and your key people embrace and work at every day. Planning. Second, profit. I think I might have said before, maximizing profit is critical. Make sure that your plan is designed to maximize profit and that you and your staff are held accountable to key performance metrics every day, every week, every month. So planning is the first P, profit is the second P. The third P, pay for performance. Pay for performance is our tool or our belief in the incentive-based compensation to drive incremental profit. So if you're supposed to make 4% profit, we don't want to pay for performance on 4%. That's what you should make as an owner for taking the risks for being an employer. We want to drive incremental profit, and we use pay for performance as the tool to do that. This leads me into how to maximize profit in your organization. I've been in American management for almost 22 and a half years now. I've probably touched or worked with so many thousands of owners I can't remember. I try to make every relationship personal. They have enough confidence in us and me to make a difference in their world, then it matters, really matters. And I find this way too often with many independent business owners. They need to focus on maximizing profit and they don't. And how should they do that? 1, should know your true costs. You have no clue how many restaurants I've talked to that cannot tell you what it costs them to the penny to make that dish, to prepare that food, to plate that entree. Know your true costs if you're a manufacturer. What does it cost you to run that equipment, to source that inventory, to drive that labor, to add back that overhead? What does it cost you to generate $1 of revenue? What does it cost you? Second thing is, after you know what it really costs you, manage by the numbers. So once you determine what it costs and what the margin is that you want to achieve, manage by your numbers and do not deviate unless you as the owner decide to deviate. Don't let anyone do that for you. Next, hold your staff accountable. But you know where that starts, right? It starts with you as an owner. Hold yourself accountable first. Forget the title owner or president or CEO or founder? How about teammate, partner? We're in this together. You really want to see success? You want to see everybody win? Make sure everybody knows that you feel what they feel and they feel what you feel. Teach everyone on your team how to execute. Part of the problem with that is many owners are second or third generation. So all they've ever learned is what they knew from their parents or their grandparents or wherever they got it from. There's no better school than the School of Hard Knocks, but holding everyone accountable to a plan and executing on a timeline is the difference between knocking it out of the park, having extraordinary success, or getting by. And of course, implement a pay-for-performance plan. A lot of people tell me they've done it, doesn't work. I tell them you don't know what you're talking about. It does work. Don't confuse commission salespeople as a pay-for-performance plan. Pay-for-performance is to drive incremental profit and that everybody wins on. I'm going to give you a final tip. It's going to sound kind of easy. You're going to shake your head. I'm going to share it with you in about a minute, maybe 2 minutes. Before you generate a single dollar of revenue in your business, you need to accurately define your true costs. I've heard owners tell me that they take material and mark it up by 1.5. They take labor and mark it up by 1.2. They add it together, and that's how they come up with their pricing. And then when I look at their financial statements, it's not even close. If you want to knock it out of the park, you want to quote better, price better, estimate better, win sales better, treat your people better, make more profit, you need to know your costs down to the penny. So whether you are a $300 million operation with a fancy ERP system and all the fancy bells and whistles, or a $300,000 contractor working off Excel spreadsheets. I love Excel spreadsheets. I like yellow paper I can write on. Understanding your true cost will allow you to do a couple of things. Price better, quote better, provide discounts if you choose to, treat your people better, control your operations better, and improve your margins, because that's where we want to be. Look, we want to be great at what we do and be great at how we do it and have an emotional connection with our customers and our employees, and we want to maximize profit. And you can't think of maximizing profit as a 4-letter word. It's not. It's a good thing for everybody involved in the equation. Here's one you're not going to like. I'm going to bet. If there's owners on this video, you're not going to like this on this webinar. Pay yourself based on the results of the company. If you're the owner of the business, stop paying yourself a salary. Pay yourself based on your cash profit, not your accrual profit, your cash profit. Be tied to the results of the business. I've found after all these years that there is no greater motivator than a lightened wallet. And if your business is underperforming, you as the owner should feel it financially as well as everybody else. In fact, you should feel it first. So you want to hold yourself accountable to a real plan, but you want to have your people involved in putting together your plan before you hold them accountable to it. And I like to follow the KISS principle on putting together a plan, right? So we know how to build a house, or we know how to run a hair salon, or we know how to run a restaurant. And most owners have no clue about how to put together a business plan or a plan, right? I like to follow the KISS principle. Keep it real. Why should people want to do business with you? What makes you different or unique? What's the emotional tug to you? And do you have the resources to execute upon that plan? It's funny because we have a lot of owners that engage with us that want to improve, and they want everybody in their organization to improve but them. And I'm going to tell you again, it starts with you as an owner. And then finally, implementing a pay-for-performance plan. Folks, if you're a $1 million contractor and your industry says you should make 5%, which is another thing. I've heard so many times, and I've heard on the news so many times, restaurants are a low margin business, 2 or 3%. Not if they're run right. Not if they're run right. If they're run right, they should be a 5-6% business. So you're a contractor and you should be making 5% because that's what your industry groups tell you, or Dun & Bradstreet tells you that, or some source tells you that. We want to use pay for performance to tie everybody together to get incremental profitability. So here's the secret sauce, the little trick I told you I was going to tell you about a few minutes ago, right? And you can write it down, you can discount it, you can laugh at it, but I guarantee you probably won't do it. Okay? Raise your prices by 2% January 1st every year, like clockwork. Raise your prices by 2% January 1st every year, like clockwork. So if you're doing $200,000 a year, that's $4,000 pure profit. If you're doing $2 million a year, that's $40,000 pure profit. If your average ticket is $20 and you raise your price 2%, that's 40 cents. If your average ticket is $200 and you raise your price 2%, it's $4. If you can't get away with a 2% annual increase that's above and beyond any cost increases you have, then you're doing something wrong. Your value added is not as good as you think it is. Your emotional tug with your customers is not as good as you think it is. You're in trouble. 2%, you're in trouble. So, as I wrap this up, I want to tell you that thanking you for participating today. We're going to be providing you with 2 documents. The first is we're going to automatically enroll you in our weekly newsletter. Hannah, we're probably going to enroll you too, if that's okay. We're going to enroll you in our weekly newsletter where we try to share business tidbits with owners anywhere around the country. We have thousands of subscribers, and that's what we're going to plan to do. Then we're going to send each one of you a copy of our 6 strategies to maximizing profit. It's an ebook that we created, and you're going to be getting that in an email, hopefully today or tomorrow. It says today, so I'll say today or tomorrow. Okay, so we're going to send that out to you. So the first is the newsletter. Doesn't cost you anything. The second is 6 strategies to maximizing profit ebook. Doesn't cost you anything. That's going to be coming out to you. And out of courtesy to the mayor, and Jeff in the United States Conference of Mayors asking us to be here today, we're going to take this a step further, which I don't think we've ever done in all our years, Jeff. We've done a lot of this. I don't think we've ever done this. We're going to offer every business owner a business management strategy session to each of you. Let me repeat that. For any business owner on this webinar today, we are providing a free, no obligation business planning strategy session to help you lay out a plan to increase sales, grow your business, and accomplish your personal goals. Free. All you have to do to take advantage of this is really simple. Email me. Am I supposed to click anything? No. Okay. Email me at lewismosca@amserve.com. Just give me your cell phone number or a way to contact you, and I'll call you within 2 hours. Be a confidential conversation. Easy peasy, as they would say up in Michigan, right? So easy peasy. Okay. And ask yourself, how bad do you want to be a champion for your employees, your staff, your community, and for your family? At Partner America, we build champions. Again, my email is lewismosca@amserve.com. Be my privilege to talk to you, work with you. And again, I want to thank you for your time. A special thanks to Mayor Schor, Hannah, and Jeff Bean for putting today together. Appreciate it all, guys, and I hope everybody's safe and has a good holiday.
So I think we have a couple of questions. Let me just check here. I'm checking the chat room. This offer to those of us who own a smaller nonprofit?
We typically work with independent owners that want to be profitable. I'll help anybody that's on this webinar.
Good. Good.
If you want to read that out from Carl.
Carl says, what can the local public sector and nonprofit economic development organizations do to help our small businesses to recover from this pandemic? How can we help these businesses to be more profitable? What is the single most important thing we can do right now? What can the local public sector? It's out of my wheelhouse, guys. Anna, Mayor.
I'm sorry, we say that again. What can the local public sector do?
Yeah, this is from Carl Dorshemer. What can the local public sector and nonprofit economic development organizations do to help our small business to recover from this pandemic? How can we help these businesses to be more profitable? What is the single most important thing we can do right now. And I think one of the things you did is you just announced what the state of Michigan's doing and that there's more coming in January, but beyond that, I can't answer.
Carl's with Carl's works with Hannah, and I'm guessing he's asked me if there's anything more that we can be doing that you've seen anywhere else.
Well, I would suggest this, if you don't mind. I would suggest this, the folks that are on here, and Hannah, if you wanted to share our newsletter and our profit maximization guide with anyone in the city, you will be getting it. So you feel free to share it with anyone you want. I just, we're here to help. That's the bottom line. Actually, when the pandemic hit back in March or April, I bet you we took a couple of thousand phone calls from independent businesses around the country and tried to help every one of them on the phone or virtually, however we could. Leanne Miller. Go ahead, Jeff.
Lou, I just saw that. We used to pay performance for our production staff. I think she deserves one of your books.
I think Leanne should be here, and I should go have breakfast. How's that? Leanne, great job. I don't know what kind of business you have. Try to incorporate pay for performance in your entire organization. I think it's fantastic. I hope it's working well for you. And folks that are afraid to try it just because they don't know. So if someone helped you do it, I think it's wonderful. If you did it yourself and you want to chat about it, you know how to reach me. How can we connect the rest of the company? I'm not sure exactly what you're doing right now. So again, I'd love to talk to you. You know how to reach me. 800-743-0410, or you have my email, lewismosca@amserve.com. Just want to say thank you for offering to work for nonprofits. So many of us are struggling. I know there are obvious differences, but many of the things you said do resonate with what we need to do. Mary, you know where I'm at. If I can help, I'd be happy to do it. I love when the names are on here, Hannah. Okay. We're all good, Jeff?
I think so. Mayor, do you want some closing comments?
There again, something just popped up in the webinar box from asking if we can do a similar webinar for nonprofits. So Hannah, we can certainly get with some of our nonprofit folks. We're very close with the Michigan Nonprofit Association and others, and see what resources we can get for nonprofits. So Tanisha, we'll get on that for nonprofits and see what resources are available. I know that many of the small business grants in the recent rounds that we did through our city dollars, through our rescue fund, were eligible for nonprofits. I also know that the community foundation here in Lansing, they were giving away something like $1 million to nonprofits as part of match funds. So you may want to touch base with the community foundation. Our One Lansing program was raising money. So I think we can get you that information. The community foundation could be a good place to start, but maybe Hannah, you can connect with Tanisha, and we can always do something like this with nonprofits, especially with the community foundation having those dollars. And she just put her email in there, Hannah, if you can touch base with her. So thanks, Tanisha, for being on the webinar, and good suggestion. And thanks to Lou and to Jeff and to Hannah. Hannah, do you want to say anything about LEAP real quick, or I don't want to put you on the spot?
No, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Jeff Bean, it was great to work with you to get this on. I just want to make sure if folks on this have not been receiving emails, like the mayor said, you can contact me and we can add you to that list for small businesses. We'll be sending out more information on the MEDC grant that just went out, and then also this newsletter too. So just want to make sure when we know of things, we're able to contact owners like you to be able to get that information as soon as possible. So we appreciate
Hannah,
it.
why don't you throw your email in the chat box if you can?
Will do.
And Hannah, somebody just asked if you can shout out again the information for how to connect with that grant tomorrow morning.
Yep, so that information, it's michiganbusiness.org /about MEDC COVID-19 relief. I can also share that link in the chat real quick. So there's that, and then also my information.
right. Well, I appreciate everybody's participation and being involved. Thank you to LEAP for setting this up, American Management Services and U.S. Conference of Mayors, Partner America, for putting all this together. We want to put every resource out we can for our small businesses to make sure that they are able to survive and thrive as we get through this crisis. We know a lot of things are changing. We're hopeful with a vaccine, which left Lansing, Michigan yesterday to all points throughout the country, which was exciting to see that we were pushing it out from Kalamazoo through Lansing to the world. And hopefully people will survive the next few months and we get the vaccine out and we get to the other side of this. So thanks everybody. Does anyone have anything else to share? Any final thoughts? All right. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Jeff.
Be safe, everybody. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks,
Be
Mayor.
safe.
Thank you, Hannah.